We are coming tonight from a town called Moree, and the town is challenged by youth crime, and it is in this light that I too, in prayer, uplift this township as they struggle with finding a way forward. Yes, not always is it going to be battled by those with insight. And so we uplift the lawmakers, but also those healers that are present throughout the community to come forward and to lend their support to finding a way to heal the hearts of those that are challenging themselves. Yes, as the prodigal son, yes, shows us, challenging themselves, but also challenging those around them. Yes, yes, yes. So I thank you, yes, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to explore this particular parable from yes from Jesus' parables, yes, from the book or the Gospel of Luke, the parable of the prodigal son. And Emmanuel uses one line, but uses a whole lot of sentiments too, to to convey to us some extraordinary guidance, and he pulls no punches. But when I spoke to Louise the other day, she said, I don't really know the parable of the prodigal son. So firstly, I would like to get Mum to read from the book, the Gospel of Luke. Yes, yes, the parable of the prodigal son. One moment, please. So from Luke chapter 15, 11 to 31. We are intrigued because Emmanuel chose one section of this parable to highlight for us something that he had in mind. But it is important to see it in its context because it shows Emmanuel at his best. He is a slave driver. Yes, yes. I love it. Jesus continued, there was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So the father divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. The son longed to fill his stomach with the food that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to himself, or came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. So make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and now is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of his servants and asked him what was going on. Your brother has returned, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But the eldest son answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could see my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home and you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we have to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and now is alive again. He was lost and is now found. So that is the parable of the prodigal son. Louise, I am sure you have heard of it before. Okay. Yes. Louise, are you present?
Yes,
Yes.
I was nodding. Yes,
Yes.
so thank you, Colleen. Yes, the story itself, yes, I do remember you saying about the story before.
Yes. Okay. Great. So this is a beautiful story of eternal forgiveness and oneness. Yes. So let us now look at what Emmanuel has selected from the parable and focus then on yes, on his teachings. Alex, can you scroll the screen, please? Yes. So Emmanuel writes, let us set out. And from Luke 15:18, from the parable, the son says, I will rise and return to my father. So when the prodigal son decided to return to his father's arms, he actually decided to rise inwardly, to leave the dark cave of idleness and head for the field of regenerative action, to get up off the cold ground of inertia and seek the heat of reconstructive activity, to leave the valley of indecision and climb the mountain of spiritually constructive toil, to escape the darkness and enter the light, to leave his negative behavior behind and plunge into the reconstruction of his ideals. He stood up and left for the paternal home. Thanks, Alex. And now Emmanuel talks to us and he says, however, prodigal sons and daughters of life, such as we are, how many of us, after having failed at the most valuable opportunities, clamor for the Lord to help us in accordance with our unworthy desires so that we can be content and happy? How many of us have willingly descended into the abyss and once in it, drowning in the dark current of our passions, beg for the presence of the Almighty through his messengers so that they may attend to our whims? But if we are really committed to our self-improvement, let us stand on our own 2 feet and press forward. Any improvement requires effort. The view at the top requires climbing the mountain first. If we aspire to a higher life, Let us go forward following Jesus' standards. I will rise, said the young man in the parable. Yes, let us rise. So, can I ask if there is anything that is a bit incongruous or difficult to understand? Any words or sentiments? Yes.
No.
All good?
I have a
Louise?
question.
Yeah. Yes.
So with it's basically with like the first line, like he decided to rise inwardly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he actually decided to
So,
rise. Yeah. Does that mean like, as in like he made the pact or decision within himself, or with like the divine inner being, as per like the one's concept to rise, or is it like, or is rising inwardly, or is that specifically referring to like raising himself spiritually?
yeah, so great question. And it is that question that we will examine now. Thank you, Louise. Great.
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 Happy to help.
Brilliant. Thank you for prompting me. Yes. Anything else? Yes. All good.
Not at the moment.
Okay. So, oh, Alex, yes.
No, I said not at the moment. Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, of all the pivotal moments of the prodigal son, Emmanuel chooses this moment where he stands up amongst the pigs and asks us to look at this moment as being the pivotal moment for the son. Yes, there are several pivotal moments or moments that are significant in the prodigal son. There is initially, so the first one is, there are 5 or 6. So can I go through the 5 or 6 and then return to Emmanuel's focal point? So the first one is the son's decision to leave home. This is represents, I sense. So the son doesn't want to have to follow in his father's footsteps. He wants to explore the creativity of his own life. And this represents man's creation, or mankind's creation, of a separate ego-based identity. And he decides to go to a far-off country. And this represents mankind's desire to explore one's own individuality, almost in a separate kind of sentiment to the unity that we would experience with God. Yes, yes. So this is the first point, the first focal point. It is pivotal because he makes this decision. He desires not to be a sheep and to follow. He desires to use the creative mechanism of money and wealth, to use that as a launching pad. And so he then explores his own life. So the second one is then how to choose to explore life, how to be creative with the freedoms that he feels he has. Unbeknownst to him, it is not so much freedom, but it is, he explores the world of illusions and is enamored, or how is it? He is spellbound by what the world has to offer and explores it in his own way. Does he extend the creative love that his father had extended towards him? Does he extend this love in and the same way does mankind follow in these footsteps and sit with that creative love that is passed through us to the world about us? the son decides not to and invests in, yes, in, what is it? It is distraction and materialism and instant gratification, all kinds of things that we experience in this life as well. All those things that consume our attention and draw us away from that extension of love that is being offered to us for us to engage in that. But yes, so often we refuse that and go in our own ego-centered, self-gratifying kind of lifestyle. So this is the second, the choice that he makes. So he chooses to live this way. The third is the suffering of the son. And the suffering happens when everything is depleted. Everything has been exhausted. His wealth, his friends, his experiences do not give him the kind of fulfillment that he had sought initially. So he finds himself at that place where he is in despair, and the realization of emptiness is a metaphor for the human condition, where the pursuit of worldly illusions, separate from love, separate from God, and therefore leads to suffering. And so the son finds himself, yes, literally in the stink. Yes, literally sitting in it. Yes, and experiencing a great deal of suffering. So this also is a moment, a chief moment in the story. The fourth one is the one that Emmanuel actually uses to draw our attention to. It is the realization phase. So this is in answer, I sense, to your question, Louise. So he has and sees around him the kind of lifestyle that is for no one to experience. So there is a yearning to return. But this is not a dramatic realization or epiphany for him. It is not one that speaks of him being enlightened. Yes. The son wants to return home, not out of love for his father, but because all other options lead to more suffering, more pain, or desperation. Yes. Even the servants have more bread, warmth, and purpose. Yes. So does he stand up and say, enough is enough? I am going to return to the Father because I am one with the Father. I feel his love. I feel his father was not on the phone connecting with him. He wasn't telling him how much he loved him because he had disconnected from him. But this standing up, yes, is a pivotal point, and Emmanuel sees this as the pivotal point in the story because it is at this moment where something happens to change the trajectory. Once again, not further away, but back towards the Father. Yes. So the fifth important point in the story is when he does return home. Yes, when he does return home, he is filled with trepidation. He is filled with guilt. He is filled with pain and suffering. And he is filled with that sense of shame that drives him to a point of great humility. But there is his father. And it is the single most, yes, the image that is, yes, portrayed most often when we speak or see the prodigal son. Yes, see the prodigal son or in print, or wherever. It is the moment when the son returns to the arms of the father. And he is broken. The son is a broken man. But the father embraces him. He embraces him. It's a demonstration of unconditional love. There is no judgment and no need for shame, even though he says to his father, yes, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I have shamed, I have embarrassed, I have hurt you, and I have hurt God as well. But herein lies the beauty of Prodigal Son in its entirety. It is a story of forgiveness. But forgiveness in English has been totally misconstrued. The etymology of each word, the prefix for in forgive, for means entirely or completely or thoroughly. So it is completely giving or thoroughly giving or giving to one's entirety. And this is the Father, or as the metaphor, the Father, but God's compassion. His welcoming arms are complete, totally giving, not calculating, not judgmental. There is no tote book that has gathered up all of the wrongdoings. There is complete giving of his love. Yes. And so this highlights our true identity as being God's treasure. So as prodigal sons and daughters, we see ourselves struggling on a day-to-day basis. But herein lies what Jesus was trying to tell us, that we are his, that there is nothing to repent for if we come with a humble heart, ready to embrace our identity as a son of God. Yes. So the shame and judgment, fear and guilt, anger, etc., they are a product of the in our separation. So all those things that the son felt, his misunderstanding that he was needing to explore his separateness, it doesn't make sense, because it only caused him great grief. Yes. The final point in the prodigal son, and this is pertaining to this idea of being treasure. But I wanted to say that the son that was the prodigal son was treasured, but also the son, the older son that remained, he also is part of God's treasure, his father's treasure, but he felt abandoned. He felt alone. He felt, even though he wasn't led astray, he actually was feeling like he had done everything right, and yet the father was celebrating the wayward son. But herein lies the essence of the teaching of the prodigal son. Herein lies the importance that if we are not all together, if we are not celebrating together, if we are not advancing together, working together for the common goal of love, then there is no joy. And that is why the Father, God, welcomes us all to the party. He welcomes us all
to the celebration. And if one is missing, it is the same as the parable of the lost sheep. If one is missing, then we are incomplete. Yes. 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 So here we are. Any questions at this stage? Yes. For now, we will return to the manual. Yes. No questions. Okay.
No.
Thank you. So when we look at the parable and go back to where Emmanuel was wanting us to focus, he wants us to focus on the realization phase. Yes. As I said before, yes, this was not a phase of epiphany. It wasn't a great revelation of his Father's love. Yes. But it was a realization that his life was, can I say, shit? Yes. His life was intellectually, yes, practically wrong. It didn't make sense that his father's servants were living a better life than he. This is a moment where his intellect kicked in. Yes, he was sorry, but he was sorry because he was hungry. He was thirsting for love. He was thirsting for food, yes, hungry for food and for a home that was non-judgmental. He was hungry for a roof over his head. He was hungry for security. He was hungry for something that wasn't this. So herein lies an interesting point, because Emmanuel says that he stands up and he changes inwardly. But initially we have to see that the stage that he is in is actually intellectual. The spiritual transformation comes when he is touched, when he realizes that his father was always embracing, that his father, yes, regarded him as equally as he had always done. Yes. So this is an interesting point. I do sense Emmanuel has given the son a bit more credit at this moment in his life. Yes. 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 Lao Tzu says that the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own transformation. The greatest gift you have to give is that of your own transformation. So this is I sense where Emmanuel is going with his text today. It is up to each of us to stand up and to engage in what is practical, to engage in what is necessary in our life. And this is where we are, yes, needing to see that the son was not changed because he had no way of knowing how his father was going to react. He had no idea whether he was going to be welcome home or not. Starving for food, for dignity, for belonging, for home, desperation drives him to honesty, humility. Broken, unwashed, unsure, but he's still surrendered. And this is an important point. surrenders. And he says to his father, do with me what you will, but I know I need to be here. And this is the beginning of the awakening, because he surrenders in humility. He doesn't go home and demand because he knows that he has done wrong. He knows that he has strayed. He knows because he has experienced it. Just as we all know when we go astray. But our intellect and our knowledge, our gathered knowledge, our wisdom, that which lies within us, will tell us when we are going astray. When we listen to ourselves as we conduct ourselves in our everyday, whether we are complaining, whether we are talking about others, whether we are focusing on ourselves rather than reaching out to another that we know needs, or an extra couple of bucks, or a helping hand. Yes, yes. But Emmanuel reminds us that the pivotal point was when he stood up. When he stood up. And this is when we need to stand up. We need to acknowledge and awaken to what is actually ailing us. If we, so like the prodigal son, he doesn't know as we don't know. Because if we did know, if we were embracing of our oneness with our Father and Mother, Creator, if we were at one, then we would not struggle in our separateness. So we know because we've been told. We know because it has been made apparent to us. But because we keep putting it off, we keep extending our stay away of a Creator. We sense our separateness and we see our disconnection with others. We are not connected. And it is not until we actually say, yes, I know it. I know it. I feel it. I sense it. But it is not until we take the step and say, in our muddiness, in our disheveled state, that we are unsure of how we will be received. It is not until we present ourselves in love to our Creator, in a divine sense of connection. It is not until that moment where we actually recognize our oneness. So the returning to the Father is the topic for today. It is one where we are, yes, almost ticked by Emmanuel. Yes, 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 yes. Can you scroll down, Alex, to the last paragraph, please? Or are you asleep? Sorry, Alex. Yes, thank you. Yes. Emmanuel says, if we are really committed to self-improvement, if we are wanting to be living a better life, sitting in that sense of joy and peace in our divinity, then we have to stand on our own 2 feet and press forward. And that is the no nonsense of the prodigal son as well. He gets it. He has to stand up and take that step towards love. He doesn't yet know or understand love, but he needs to make that first step. And so it is that Emmanuel impresses that upon us. any improvement in ourselves. We are wanting to live a life free of torment, free of anger, free of frustration, free of going off the handle, free of antagonism or bitterness or hatred or whatever it is. We can only do this when we recognize that now is now. It is important to step away from the peak side. Use our intellect first and say, this doesn't make sense. And then take steps towards recognizing the love which is in our divinity. Yes, yes. So God doesn't wait for us to be perfect, because as we have discussed in the past, the word perfect is extraordinarily complex, but in reality, we are who we are, and God, we are creations of God, and He doesn't expect us to be complete in our growth, because that is what life is about. Yes. But God awaits for our return. He has no ledger of shame for wrongdoing, but He offers, as did the Father to His Son, He offers us a robe of welcome. He offers a ring of restoration. The ring that the Father gave to the Son is the family ring. Welcome home, He says. You are and have always been a part of us. And He offers a feast of joy. Yes. Yes. So this is the essence of what Emmanuel, I sense, is bringing forth today. He asks us not to linger longer, to linger another day in the famine of self-reliance. It is marvelous to be self-reliant, to be independent, but when it is at a cost of all that we are made for, then we know it doesn't make sense to not embrace love, and love that extends beyond ourselves, because if it is kept in, the floodgates are trapped and we drown in our own self-reliance. We need to open the floodgates. We need to embrace the love that is abundant, endless, and to share it with everyone around us, and to see that the prodigal sons and daughters are all about us. And for us to assist each other is what this life is about. Yes. Yes. Have we any questions so far? Yes. Or statements? Yes.
No, you're putting beautifully.
I have a question about like the idea of like perfection requires effort, or any improvement requires effort.
Yes.
Because that's the idea of like effort requires commitment. But does effort allow for mistakes as long as we learn from them? Is it like conditional like that? Like mistakes are allowed in the movement towards perfection as long as we learn?
There are no conditions, because we will continue to wallow in pain, and the pain will tell us, we have more work to do there. And this is the intellect coming in. We can see it ourselves. Why do I feel these sensations linger in me? This is just a divine process. It can be rigorous. It can be hard. But the lessons will continue. Your pain, your resistance will show itself. There are no conditions. This is what the creation is all about. We are all on a trajectory to love, to connecting with the divine light that lies within. The prodigal son didn't understand this when he stood up. And that is what today's lesson is about. He stands up because he says, enough's enough. I can't stand this way of life. I can't stand how it is that I have chosen this. Maybe I have chosen it. Maybe it is that others have inflicted this upon me. He may be still sitting in that space. His father showed him when he embraced him. Said, you are always a part of me. You are an extension. You are my treasure, my son. The son will continue to learn and to find, to chip away from this illusionary idea that he is separate, that he is individual. But in separateness and individuality, not individuality, but individuality, we always do it at the expense of someone else. But this can only be recognized after we have experienced life. And others show us, and we show ourselves. But it is a combination of sitting in deep connection in love, but this is so difficult. But also to engage the intellect and say, and the sensations, and say, my body feels weird. Why am I feeling this way? Uplift it in prayer and say to yourself, say to God, what are you trying to say? When I first looked at this topic and read the text from Emmanuel, I actually said to Emmanuel, what are you trying to tell me? Of all the places that you could have chosen, you have chosen this spot, this pivotal moment, where the sun is not even enlightened. It's extraordinary. But in asking this, it was made clear that it requires of each of us to acknowledge our pain and say, we don't need this pain. We don't need it. Others, such as the father and his eldest brother, others in his life, others in our lives too, are living extraordinary lives that rejoice in peace and love. What is it in me? Where is it that I need to go? What is my next step? Please guide me, Holy Spirit. Please guide me. But you have it. And this is what Emmanuel is saying. Don't get to the depths of despair and then pray and ask for help. This is Emmanuel all over. He's great. He calls a spade and says, don't do that to yourself. And expect others to help, other messengers. And put yourself on others. Yes, it is good for others to see and to help and to act in compassion, but we are doing it to ourselves. When we get to that point of desperation, why did we get to that point? If we are sitting in these classes, we know in ourselves, we sit in already a sense of wisdom. We get it. We acknowledge. It is time that we engage this intellect in wisdom, under divine guidance. Yes. So the lessons may last a lifetime of this. And in fact, for all of us, I do think that it is so. But ultimately, we will be drawn back to love, whether it is in this lifetime or in spirit realm. Oh, damn, and then return to this realm again to sort it out in a human capacity. Yes. But always recognizing that if we are getting something to share, not to share the preaching, but to share in compassion. There is a beautiful word in Hawaiian. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Pauline? Yvonne?
You frozen.
Yeah, you frozen on my screen. Yvonne and
Yeah.
Colleen.
Let's give them a moment. Maybe it's like a little internet.
Yeah.
Glitch.
Yep.
And they gone.
Okay. Okay. They may try to rejoin.
Yes.
Let's wait a couple minutes. Oh.
With the yeah, with like what we're talking about with like the idea of like standing up. So is it like the act of the standing up starts the actual momentum for the learning curve to begin, and so then it's like you're directed to the proper education or the proper people who can give you the right education on how to then become the best version of yourself. So it's like the standing up is like the start of your path, and then you're then directed to the learning. Is that
Yeah.
what it's meaning?
I guess it's what she's coming from, is the same way. Seems like this. It seems like it's the same way like when we want to get any, I don't know, that's us, any directions in our life, you just need to take the first step. No one can make the decision for you. It's about like you make the decision and the rest of things is just gonna sort it out themselves, but you have to have that first step and say, okay, I will do the first step. I think is that what she's coming from. Like,
Yeah.
Same way with everything in our lives. Like, it's only gonna change if we decided to do the first step and like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. Doesn't mean like you're gonna have people that is not gonna agree with you. But like, if you decide to do the first step, like the rest, like God will sort it out for you. Like you're gonna make it happen. But the decision needs to come from us, I guess, is what they're coming from.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I just like it. Is that what I understood what they're saying? Let's see if they send out like a little message here on the private chat.
How did we go?
No, nothing. I think they probably lost connection.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to get the internet back.
We do like another minute or so and then we'll pray and finish it up. But then probably that's life on the road. Not always reliable internet. Right, Snow? Yep. Let me text them. Yeah, I text them, but like,
Yeah, not even receiving.
no, not even receiving a message. This weather. Ah,
Oh, it's been good. I've quite enjoyed the rain today as opposed to the 39-degree heat yesterday.
yeah. I have to praise myself. I didn't give up the gym today, even with the weather.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting the message. I think they completely lost internet.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do them a final prayer. Can you do a final prayer for us? So we can close the night and yeah, I let them know. They will get the message when they get internet.
All right, let's just have a deep breath in and let it go. I'd like to thank all the spirits that were with us today to help on our journey, to learn with us, to get all this knowledge and make it useful in our lives. I'd like to thank Colleen and Yvonne for presenting for us. I'd like to acknowledge the spirits of the house for being here with us, for helping us to make this night happen, and hope that we can get all this knowledge and information and use in our lives for our betterment. So be it.
So be it.
So be it. Hope you have a lovely week, Lou.
You too, guys.
You
Thank
have a
you.
lovely, lovely week. Good studies.
Yeah.
Your head, your spirit be guide with wisdom and, clear ideas for your studies. So you can always shine and be successful. And I hope to see you guys next week then.
Yeah, thank you, Dai.
Uh,
I hope
we
your
have-
week is kind.
Oh, thank you. See you later.
Bye, Lulu.
Bye.
Bye-bye.